It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
From Slumberland at the Lake, it's that time for your weekly cup of coffee with Wild Will, and that is not Uncle Chris. Nope. Hey, it's Nathan Bechtold from LakeExpo.com. What's going on, man?
Hey, buddy. Thanks for having me on.
I'm glad you're able to fill in for the anniversary man, Uncle Chris, on vacation. So Nathan and I will talk about local headlines. We got some good ones. Hey, Memorial Day weekend is here. No fireworks.
Not many.
No, we'll talk about that. Plus, Super Splash USA gets ready for their grand opening on Saturday. We recap a busy week here at Lake of the Ozarks in the books, and I sit down with Paxton De Laurent from Camdenton, fresh off his NFL tryouts. That and more after this from our friends at Slumberland at the Lake. So we're coming right back from the Price and Randall. And Andrew, we're going to reverse the Ozarks AMP 30 and the Price and Randall 30, come out of the Price and Randall 30 to this.
Hey everybody, it's Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. Memorial Weekend is some of our favorite time here at the lake. Why is that? Because we get to bring out the tent. We're going to set it up the next couple of days, and starting Thursday, you get to come take advantage of all the great deals. Scratch, dent, dinged items, clearance items, stuff that's been discontinued, all at a great deal. We're also going to give you great interest-free financing on those deals. You come see us at Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
The biggest names in music visit Lake of the Ozarks in 2025 at the Ozarks Amphitheater. Get ahead of the crowd with the Ozarks Amp Fan Club. Score pre-sales, announcements, special offers, day of show details, and so much more. The best part is, it's free to join, but you've got to sign up to beat the crowd. Visit ozarksamp.com and score big with Missouri's #1 outdoor music venue, the Ozarks Amphitheater. We'll see you under the stars.
The lake has it all. The scenic outdoors, the incredible events, and of course the water.
But did you know 50% of all fatal boating crashes in Missouri last year involved alcohol?
Although we know the lake is all about having a great time, we also know what's most important to you.
So don't forget and always designate a sober captain ahead of time, so this summer won't be your last summer.
This reminder to drive safe, boat safe, brought to you by Price and Randall, injury attorneys.
That's right. Remember, drive safe, boat safe. And to get the week started, I saw over the weekend the first instance, and hope the first of very few this summer, boating, which they call BWI or DWI incident. Joseph Crabtree, 41, at a Florissant, not only boating while intoxicated, but based on the PC statement, also left the scene of an accident, and he bonded out of Camden County Jail, $715 on Saturday. His court hearing isn't until latter part of June, his preliminary hearing. But just a reminder, like, the lake is going to be busy this summer, so whether you're on land or on water, a perfect segue from our friends at Price and Randall Injury Attorneys to drive safe, boat safe, all summer and year-round here at Lake of the Ozarks. And as I welcome Nathan Bechtold from LakeExpo.com, we talk about you all the time, and on the rare occasion that I'm on vacation, you fill in for me. Yeah. So welcome back to Cup of Coffee, and thanks, you guys are busy right now at Lake Expo.
You're busy at Lake TV, too. Everybody's busy, man. It's summer busy time.
No, but when I say busy, like for Lake Expo, that means a lot of times.
Lots going on.
A lot of homes, a lot of boats, a lot of stories. But listen, right now, man, you guys launched a podcast. You guys got your perfect getaway contest. Yep. But it's a great time right now to be connected with Lake Expo.
Well, yeah, we're having fun. We're just decided that we're going to do new things this year, and so far it's been going really well. So the perfect getaway contest, that's running right now, and really our vision behind that contest was, let's create a contest that actually leverages first like everybody's expertise about the lake, what people know about the lake. So pick your favorite lakefront restaurant and your favorite entertainment venue, your favorite family-friendly fun and all these places, and help us build some perfect getaways, like weekend getaways. And then we're actually going to promote, we'll have 3 like the best couples getaway and best family-friendly getaway, best party getaway, and then we'll promote those. So for round 2 of our contest, people get to vote on which one they'd want to win, and you'll be entered to win it.
Oh, so cool.
like including like rental and boat rental, like, lodging and boat rental and all that stuff. So it's going to be I think a unique take on a contest, and we've had good participation so far, but there's still time to go in and vote. So folks can just go to lozgetaway.com and they can vote in the Perfect Getaway contest. You have to create an account there and then you can vote. And again, when round 2 opens later this month, that's when you get to enter to win one of the getaways.
So like, hey, if you're looking or watching out there this week's Cup of Coffee and you love Lake of the Ozarks, like, hey, go find out about the Perfect Getaway
please do.
contest. Really,
it's been fun.
Cool idea. And then, hey, new here recently, the last couple of months at least, we announced it about 6 weeks ago, but hey, your new podcast, Take on the Lake, and you've had some really great guests and have a really cool one coming up, but talk a little bit about the new podcast venture and how much you've been enjoying that.
Well, I love podcasts, and it's not that I think that I have important things to say all the time, but I get to talk to really interesting people all the time because of what we do at LakeExpo. And over the years, I've thought, man, I wish other people could be privy to the interviews that I get to have and the cool things that people say. And I write about it and I want to create a great story, but the face-to-face conversation and just hearing the ongoing conversation is different. So I finally decided to launch that this spring, and it's kind of it's produced by LakeExpo, but the brand is Take on the Lake. And I got a Facebook page, people can go look that up. And it's on all the podcast platforms, most of them. You can go download it. I'm doing a video too, but only because everybody said, oh, you're doing a podcast, so you'll do video? And I was like, it's a podcast, what? No, right? But everybody kept asking, so I'm just setting up my phone on a little tripod for now, and you can watch the video. You can watch me sit there and talk with somebody. I like listening to podcasts, but whatever people want to do. So it'll be on the Facebook page, on YouTube, and all that stuff. It's been great. Yeah, we've had really cool guests, and coming up, our newest episode that I just recorded is with David Bush over at Super Splash USA, the CEO, and that guy, we were talking about him a little bit ago. What a guy, man. Yeah. What an amazing career trajectory. And this is actually, I think he's lost count, but like his 24th-ish water park or like amusement park to open up at what was Big Surf and is now Super Splash USA. So really fun interview.
Cool, and you'll find out, I'm sure, in that interview, that podcast segment, is like you said, 24th, and he's only gotten better. I feel pretty lucky that we're both getting to be involved with their launching, their rebranding, and helping that park. But I think this is probably the one that he's gonna be the most proud of as you look at their ambassador program, what they're doing. And it's worth noting that, hey, if you're still looking for a summer job, Super Splash USA is still hiring, and you don't have to wait much longer. We'll talk about it here in a minute, but they've got their grand opening. They're open for business Saturday. But back to LakeExpo, so your new podcast is rocking. Dave Bush will be on that. But talk about a couple of the other guests, because you've had some really cool, just through the first few episodes.
People loved my conversation with James Boren, police chief at Lake Ozark. That one did lots of views on that. A ton of people know James, but that was really fun. Man, we just went all over the place. And he's such an interesting guy. He's the worship leader at our church at Riverview Baptist. And so he's a great musician, and he's also a really great leader. And kind of an accidental cop, actually. Like his story, he tells us how he wanted a music career, but his father-in-law got him into the police world, and here he is, the chief of police in Lake Ozark. That was a really fun one. My first interview I did was with Trevin Dawson from The Voice, and that was a blast. I got a lot of great feedback on that one, and what a neat kid, man. What a cool journey, and he's got a cool career. So had some really cool ones, and then very recently, man, I can't pick a favorite, but the interview I did with John Flippo about his dad, Marshall, who was this famous square dance caller at Kirkwood Lodge at the lake. And we did a lead-in with his dad. It's like a record-sounding thing with his dad explaining a song he'd written, and then we ended the episode with a song that his dad wrote, a square dance song called Welcome to Lake of the Ozarks. Dude, A, that song will get stuck in your head for the next week. And B, I almost get goosebumps every time because I love that song.
Can we play it?
We can play it.
Yeah, just put it in a little soundbite right here. Just over the next 8 to 10 seconds. Yeah, and who is that?
That's Marshall Flippo, and he was a square dance caller at Kirkwood Lodge. And apparently, if you were in the square dancing world, you knew the name Marshall Flippo. Sold a ton of records and all this stuff. So really fun interview.
My great-grandparents in Moberly and Rennick area were big time into that industry, like the square, and traveled. So I guarantee you they know who this was, but hopefully Andrew laid that in softly. And thanks for letting us do that. That's cool. So man, and I think that those kind of conversations, those kind of stories are not really missing, but just so neat. Like that's my favorite part about the doc series. The docs, the boats are cool, but when you hear people's stories of how they started here and the work and the labor of love to rebuild, or it's really cool. So I love that. And Take on the Lake, check that out. And then, like you said, you guys are collaborating, like Jeff Fitzer, man, that guy's all over the place. You guys are doing some great stuff with Shore Magazine, and then of course Expo. That's still a big deal. I mean, and it's boating season, so let's give a shameless plug. Go ahead.
Shameless plug. Expo is the lake's worry-free boating club. So you join Expo, and if you break down, run the battery dead, run out of gas anywhere while you're out on the lake, your tow is free. That's a good thing because the average tow is like $700 normally.
You guys are wild. I'm just sitting here and I'm trying not to laugh because you guys are initially media, but now you guys are real estate. You guys have the incredible Exto app. You guys are in publishing with Shore Magazine. Like, I'm just gonna be like you guys when I grow up.
I want to be like you when I grow up. So, it's mutual. No, we're just trying things, we're just trying things, and some things we've tried have gone so, but a lot of things have gone really well. And Exto's got, I think we're at around 700 members now on Exto, and should have lots more. We have a Memorial Day sale that we'll be doing, flash sale, so it's like best price of the year.
Well, it is a no-brainer. Like if you have a boat and you're out on the water more than twice a year, like it pays for itself.
The normal price is $159 a year, and you get fuel discounts at marinas around the lake, 10 cents a gallon. So like that even pays for a lot of the membership. It makes like complete sense. So go to LakeExpo.com. And you can sign up. If you do it like Memorial Day weekend, we'll have a flash sale, and that'll be our best price of the year.
Brent's going to be really proud of you for this.
Thanks.
Like Brent is going to be really happy with you for the first, 10 minutes of this show. All right.
Hey, Brent.
Hey, and speaking of Lake Expo, I saw it there first. Grand Glazed Bridge will soon bear the name of Felicia Carson, honoring her service and sacrifice. I thought that was really cool. The Missouri General Assembly passed legislation that designated the structure as Police Officer Felicia Carson Memorial Bridge, and this is part of SB 348 and will take effect on August 28th of this year, and then it'll have to be signed by Governor Kehoe, and they got MoDOT's going to cover the cost of signage, and our state rep Jeff Vernetti was very instrumental in getting that measured through, and he says signs will go up in the fall, and they're even going to have a formal dedication ceremony, which they'll announce later. And this kind of mirrors House Bill 107, which is really working on taking some of these structures and honoring the service and sacrifice of those who have fallen. And of course, Felicia Carson died in the line of duty August 31st of 2024. But I thought that was really cool, and that's really made its rounds and impacted so many people, not just here at Lake of the Ozarks, but across the state. I also saw in Lake Expo, she was part of one of 6 officers honored at a statewide ceremony last week.
That's right. They lit up the Capitol or whatever and honored officers. So that's, good on Jeff for getting that through. I think that was important. And you go through places like you drive over bridges, or when you're traveling, and you'll see officers. So you'll see bridges named after this or that or the other person, and a lot of times you don't know. You're like, well, I don't know who that person is, but that community knows. And I think for the Grand Glazed Bridge to bear Felicia Carson's name is going to be deeply meaningful for a lot of people.
Very much so.
And that's a cool one.
Yeah, and as you said too, when you're traveling, like even if you don't know, like you see their name, right, and sometimes it invokes like great wonder, and I always start kind of wondering if I happen to see the name, like I just wonder, like what? So
just publicly honoring people is that's cool.
Yeah,
so,
love that. All right, hey, next local headline: the official mover of Lake TV, our friends at LOZ All Around Movers, Matt Frisk and his team. They celebrated a new office. They moved to Camdenton, and last week they had a ribbon cutting. All the chamber directors, including Eldon's Matt Kostelnik, Mike Koningsman, Morgan Craneshaw, Casey Cloak, all there. But we love this crew. They've moved me and my wife when we were in Eldon. They moved us to Sunrise Beach to our house, and they've moved us twice already out of our current studios into our new offices and studios we'll be launching here soon. But Matt and his crew with Desan, Chance, Nathan, Ian, Joseph, and it's not just like around the lake or moving away from the lake. If you're like in Florida and you're ready to move to Lake of the Ozarks, they will come to you and move you down here to Lake of the Ozarks. So the official movers of Lake TV, congrats to Matthew Frisk and his team. Go to All Around Movers, go to 573-965-007. And that was a big ribbon cutting for a moving company. I was like, you don't spend any time in the office if you're a moving company. You're always on the road, moving, hauling, and that's a job that like, that's a hard job.
It's a hard job.
I want to see a feature of you on the job working with a moving company
Not
like
happening.
that.
Not happening.
Me.
The old back won't take it.
Yeah, I'm with you
I got respect for those guys.
on that, but that's hard work. And I did want to say, like, they do a really nice job of, when they moved us, we've got a lot of framed photos and sports memorabilia, and they wrap it very carefully and they unpack it, and they even help us build like some shelving and frame, put some stuff on the wall. So we're real thankful for those guys. And hey, we already talked about Memorial Day weekend, Super Splash USA, and all the attention's been on Patriots Plunge, right?
Yep.
Like your guys' video was massive. You were there live.
My
We've seen-
extreme videoing skills where I squatted down at the bottom of the slide and went live on Facebook. Yeah. That was,
I mean, that's, people get excited about that. And that's something as you drive by that area in Lynn Creek, just outside of Camdenton, you know, it's really gets your attention.
yeah.
And so
there was a great spot to put it. Like everyone has been seeing that all winter going up, and it looks great.
yeah, and not only that, but like almost think kind of getting lost is the Adventure Island, like the kids' island, like what they're doing, and they're putting the finishing pieces on. You were there yesterday.
Yep.
Like I think they're going to be ready.
I was there last week, and then when I was there yesterday, it had changed a lot in a week. The Adventure Island area especially, because when I was there a week ago, most of the pieces were like there but scattered, and yesterday I was like, well, that looks almost done. So it is going to be really cool. Kids are going to love that spot. So
When we travel,
a lot is
like-
going to look different at Super Splash when you go this summer versus when you were at Big Surf last summer. It's going to be a very different feeling place.
Sure, and like this Saturday, like we said, they open at 10 o'clock. Go get your Splash Pass if you haven't already. They've got their family 4-packs with the meal deals on sale. And hey, they're doing a really cool giveaway too as well on their Facebook page. And I also wanted to say, let's not forget about some of the rides that we've loved. Zambezi Falls probably rebranded. Their Lazy River, they're expanding, and you know, so it's going to be awesome. I know you're going to be there Saturday. I'm going to be out there Saturday morning. It's going to be awesome. Go to supersplash.com to buy your tickets now. And I don't know, you may be able to answer this, not to put you on the spot, but could they sell out of tickets? Because I feel like there is going to be so many people there Saturday.
I don't know. Let's see them try.
Yeah, I would love to see everybody
happen.
show
That'd
up.
be good.
All right, hey, here's the big headline that is making its rounds and people have a reaction on. And they always have a reaction on Lake Erie happening.
Well, yes.
On our Facebook pages, but this one in particular, Memorial Day fireworks are going to look way different at Lake of the Ozarks this weekend. You're used to the big ones, and everyone's like, why? Well, you guys told everybody in an article this last week. So Nathan, what's going on as these big lodging partners you look at? Margaritaville, the Lodge of Four Seasons, they've always had these massive fireworks shows that thousands and thousands, I want to note, people enjoy without spending $1 at Margaritaville or Tan-Tar-A, but they're not happening this year, and people are furious.
Yeah, although I've seen some people happy. Because they're like, you know, my dog doesn't sleep all night after that. So, you know, there's mixed results. But yes,
There's
people love the
10% or less the dogs, right?
But no, I mean, the short answer is the lodging tax. That's what we got when we called. Not every one of these places said that was the reason. There probably were some that didn't say it, but that still is the reason. But like, we talked to several of the large venues that have fireworks on Memorial Day, and because they're not getting the lodging tax revenue, as you know, the lodging tax was kind of like powered down after the court decision, and so there's no more lodging tax dollars flowing to those guys, and those paid for several of the big fireworks shows around the lake. So they're not gonna be there. There's really only, from what we could tell, I'm sure there'll be some other ones here and there, but like 2 major fireworks shows if you want to go see them at the lake, and they're going to be at Bear Bottom.
Yeah, Saturday the 24th, Bear Bottoms. They do that at about dusk, you know.
Yep, right.
And
then at Celebration Cruises down at the dam, and that is on
the 25th.
The 25th, yeah, Sunday night.
So those are your 2 options right now. And like we said, we saw a lot of people saying, hey, well, just because you don't have the tax dollars doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. But that's interesting because the complaint was our taxpayer dollars shouldn't be going to fireworks. But that was an interesting case made. I talked to Matt Sutcliffe. He owns Premier Pyrotechnics. Right. He does hundreds of fireworks shows across the state of Missouri each year. And he said, I would just want to tell you that 80% of all the fireworks shows that we do are contracted from cities, states, government entities, and that it's almost always taxpayer dollars that would pay for something like that. And I started to wonder, like, do people really expect Margaritaville and Tan-Tar-A and those resorts to foot the bill for that?
Right.
It is a little unfair because I started to think, like, how many of the people on the water and by their own cove that enjoy that or go on land are staying there spending money with those places.
Right.
And so I just found it interesting, but it is going to look different this year.
Oh,
They
yeah.
are not going
And
to
not
be.
just Memorial Day. I mean, this is all summer, right? Like there will be some fireworks at July 4th and some at Labor Day, but just because they happened there last year, I would say don't assume that you can just go to that place and they'll be there this year because they very well likely will not be there. So check that, I'm sure you guys will be talking about it. We'll be talking about it at Lake Expo, updating folks on that because there was even at least one place that said they didn't know yet if they were going to have them July 4th or not. So don't just assume. That's the main thing, that they're going to be there this year because they were last year. So there's a lot of changes on the fireworks front. And yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be really disappointed. We're
going to see more side effects than I think people realize from the disbanding of the Tri-County Lodging Association, and whether people, which I was not always on board with some of the spends, and I think that was a great question that was raised, but without getting those matching funds from the state of Missouri tourism, some of this stuff is going to go away. And not only that, but some of our marketing, in other places. So I think this is just the start. And as you alluded to, 4th of July going to look differently. Yep. Matt Sutcliffe confirmed that said he has no 4th of July day contracted gigs, and he did he does numerous crews all across the lake, 4th of July and across the state of Missouri. And as far as Lake of the Ozarks are concerned right now, he has 0 on the books.
Okay.
So, all right, hey, next headline. I saw it on Lake Expo, big shock, right? Head of FEMA fired day after he kind of poses opposition and questions the Trump administration with his new,
Well, he went for
Reform Council.
Yeah, to kind of testify, and he wasn't even like the officially sort of the stand-in guy, but he went, and I guess the Trump administration had been talking about nixing FEMA.
They've launched the Reform Council, right?
We'll see. Yeah, and he kind of said in his testimony, I think nixing FEMA would be a bad thing for the American people. Don't know if that was the reason he got axed or not, but the next day he was out. So yeah, interesting. I think
Just
there
like
are some
Doge.
people who would love to see it start there and just fire all 20,000 FEMA employees.
Well, just like Doge, I think some kind of accountability and a Reform Council is probably a good idea to look into FEMA. Flood maps, anyone, in regards to Lake of the Ozarks. Faulty data, interesting topic that's been very important for people here at Lake of the Ozarks. And so I don't think it's a bad idea that FEMA would be looked at. And so I just thought it was worth noting as we move forward here. The lake is busy, like you said, we're all busy, but this last weekend, was awesome.
It was a good big weekend at the lake. Yep.
The Nate Bargatze show at the Ozarks.
It was sold out. I heard it was just, I wasn't there, but it was bananas.
300 plus people at the amphitheater. Not only was it an amazing show, but the communication from the amphitheater ahead of time. They had Swallowtail at your table. I saw the Lake Expo has their own table in the sponsor table. We were just there in the COMC table. We're not even big timers and have our own table, but I saw Jill Molitor and crew. Jill's everywhere.
There, Oh yeah.
But great experience. Big shout out. Thanks to our friends at Central Ozarks Medical Center, Bree and Kelly, for letting us have that table for that show. Because Nate Bargatze, he had Mike Jones, comic Mike V, Derek Stroop. There was not a single cuss word uttered. There was no foul jokes, which is impossible in comedy anymore.
Right.
And it was the best comedy show. There was not really a moment where 10 seconds passed that there wasn't the whole crowd really laughing. So shout out to the amphitheater
that was a cool
Nate
get.
Bargatze.
Yep.
And I mean, you're a comedy guy, right? So you probably like Nate Bargatze, right?
I don't watch a lot of comedy.
Never
honestly.
mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yep. So I knew he was a big deal when they got him, and it was a big deal. So that was a really cool weekend.
Still laughing. I mean, it was so good. The Vented Boat Show at the Cave was unbelievable. We got some feature stuff coming out. I know there's a feature coming in Shore Magazine on the 1976 Donzi twins. There was a 1974 Kona jet boat. Unbelievable. And then, of course, Scott Wallace's 1966 Glastron.
We got Glastron. I love that boat, man.
That's special.
That boat is amazing.
But lots of content coming from that. And then real quick, My 4.5-year-old daughter, almost, I guess not 4.5, closer to 5 now, Brinley, did the Sky Trail at Malted Monkey.
Yeah.
I cannot believe how brave she is. I was more scared than she was. And then, of course, we just wrapped up the HK's Lake of the Ozarks Open for Lake Regional over the weekend. Great weekend with Jason Whittle and crew, the Brown family. There was Duran Cherry, Keith Cash, Garrett 6'1", Jackson. Mike Clayton emceed the welcome party. Like, Mike Clayton, he's everywhere.
He is.
You know?
I know.
That guy's everywhere.
More everywhere than you're everywhere.
Well,
man.
there's
He's
no
like
doubt
the everywhere guy.
About that. And then, hey, I mean, like, just over the last couple of weeks, it's been big news, but Camdenton grad Paxton De Laurent recently got to try out for the Bills and the Chiefs, and he was home just for a couple of days, and we got the opportunity to catch up with him. All right, so 2 NFL tryouts, like a lot of people here locally, they got to see a little bit of that with some photos and a few posts here and there, but kind of walk us through, like, what was that experience like? Let's start with KC.
Yeah, so in Kansas City, they do it, you know, first class. You start the first night, they have a Hall of Famers come and sit at each table, you have a nice dinner, and then you get the playbook. You know, about 25 plays, and you better learn that sucker by, you know, 10 a.m. the next morning, where you're gonna have walkthroughs, then practice. It was competitive. Everybody wanted, you know, a spot. There was 87 people at the Chiefs rookie mini camp, so it was in, I think they had about 8 spots they said available, so you can imagine how competitive that was.
And you already knew that, hey, if the Chiefs didn't make an offer, if they're not gonna offer right now, the Bills, they really wanna bring me in and they wanna give me a tryout. So talk us through your Buffalo experience. You got, you know, the hometown team for Will.
Heck yeah, so Buffalo was amazing. You know, I think they're, when you get here, you know it's about football. There's not a lot of distractions, which I loved. Like, I just came in with a lot more confidence. Like the plays we came in, it was like, okay, 15 plays to learn on night 1. It really went awesome. Like, I couldn't have changed anything about the Bills one.
Yeah, you were telling me, like, you were gelling during that tryout. You had that confidence. You had done it before with the Chiefs, and so what was that mindset like as that weekend wrapped up?
Yeah, so that week wrapped up, I really thought, you know, I might get an opportunity. I thought maybe they would sign me, and they got back to me, and all they had was positive feedback. They didn't have any negatives, and they were like, hey, Paxton, like, you know, in the future, if we have a spot open, you'll be a call. Like, we really enjoyed you, the person you are, the eagerness to learn, the ability to play. And they just have 4 quarterbacks on the roster right now, and that's all they'll keep, you know, and I understand that. So
but
it's just,
you know the course of the NFL season.
Who knows? So you got to make sure you're ready for that moment to execute, and I have full confidence that it will happen. And I'm just, you know, really relying on the Lord and my faith and trusting that, you know, He's got a good plan for me, and it's going to happen. You may get that one shot, right, and you got to be prime, and that's crazy. I don't know if you guys remember, but back in 2019, which would have been going into your senior year, we did a little throwing competition. Now, I felt more confident back then. We're going to relive it, a little throwing competition, and I begged Paxton that we could do it the wind at our back. So we're going to throw this way? Yep. Yeah, we're going to throw this way. He's been making me throw all morning here into the wind while he's throwing this way, so I'm ready. See what he's got. A big running start from the 30. The 17-yard line, so what would that be? 53. Comes a 70 ball right here, 70 yards. Ooh. That's gotta be. Oh! 69? Man, Paxton, I just want to thank you for your time. And it went 70 yards this way, 53 this way, so I got beat by the NFL prospect by 17 yards. I'll take it. But listen, Paxton, thanks for coming out and giving us some of your time, man. We're going to keep everybody posted on what's next for this very special Camdenton alum. Now, you didn't get to see it, but we relived our throwing competition from 2019. We did his senior year. Yeah, he's 70 pounds bulkier now, but way trimmer.
So he's catching up to you a little bit?
Well, he's always been surpassed me. He threw 70 yards.
No way.
Yeah, unbelievable. And then also wanted to tell you, lots of great stuff happening on Lake TV. A little over a month away from the return of the LOZ featured doc series. We also got Camden County Sheriff Chris Edgar, Part 2 on the Community Spotlight Show this week. Weekend at the Lake with David Leatherberry. Of course, furry friends with that beautiful host, Unique Holtz. And Lotto Homes. Back on Lake TV, we have a $3.5 million mega mansion with Jonathan Hartenstein, Lake Ozark Real Estate. And plus, we're pretty sure, coming up at the end of the June, we're going to have Shootout Offshore. Like, that's going to be here before we know it, right?
Coming. Yeah.
Like, and I'm ready for some offshore, baby. Like, you know, there's nothing that gets Wild Will fired up like a little offshore.
Big weekend.
And then I wanted to thank you for being here, filling in for Uncle Chris. He's actually on vacation with his lovely wife, Michelle, celebrating 25 years of pure bliss,
Nice.
25th wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary to the Schneiders. Hope you guys are enjoying your vacay. And again, thanks, Nathan, for being here, my friend.
Thanks, buddy.
That's going to do it for this week's Cup of Coffee from Slumberland at the Lake.